afternoon and welcome to First Financial Biz Beat, presented by the Business Courier. I'm Kyla Woods. It's the end of the year, and that means it's Book of List time at the Courier. It's where you'll find comprehensive rankings of nearly every major company in significant industries across the region. Make sure you check out the print edition for important data on the most successful businesses that influence and make a difference in our community. Well, the end of the year always signals a significant time for personal and business financial decisions, and this is especially true for entrepreneurs and small businesses. And today we have Savon Gibson with Gibson Financial Planning joining us with those best practices for end-of-year planning. Hey, Savon, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, and happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you as well. So speaking of holidays, as we prepare to close out 2020, what are some things to keep in mind as far as your personal and business finances?
Okay, so normally I have 3, but this year, due to the unprecedented situation, I have 6. So first thing you want to do is determine your position. What does your balance sheet, income statement, and cash flow statement looks like? Where do you stand as a company? Debt ratio, your current profit margin. Second one that we all love, prepare those tax documents. Get with your accounting and your bookkeeping and find out what it is you need to do for the tax situation for next year. Also, what you want to do is plan for the coming year. What it is, you're going to need 2 plans. So you want to plan pre-COVID and plan if we're still in the COVID situation. That way, if something clears up in the middle of next year, you're ready for that pivot as well. Also, with COVID, what I had to do this year was I added some things. So you want to update your employee information. Reach out to your employees. You might have to lay someone off. So reach out to them because we're all human. Let them know, hey, you still love them. Send them a gift. Let them know, hey, when things get right, I might need you to come back. Also, what you want to do is reach out and update your vendor files. Some suppliers are no longer in the business, due to the situation. Some people might not have the inventory that you need anymore. So contact your vendors to see if everything is still what it was pre-COVID and during COVID this year. Also, you want to consider your staffing needs for 2021. Will you need less staffing? Will you need more? With everything going virtual, some people have chose to shut down their brick and mortar and go fully online.
Savon, some really great advice there. Thank you for sharing that. So, of course, that's how we kind of end the year. Going into 2021, we know this year has been difficult for many entrepreneurs and small businesses. What advice would you give them to set themselves up for success, even in the midst of us still having some uncertainty, but going into that first quarter of 2021?
Just set an action plan. Set an action plan that's going to give you options, because things will continue to change moving forward. So instead of just setting one action plan or 2, plan for A, B, C, and D, and even have a Z plan if necessary. That way you can always pivot at any moment.
Great advice as well. So, of course, as we plan for the first quarter, you have a really wonderful event coming up in January that's geared toward the youth in our community. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so what I'm doing is establishing generational wealth for youth and young adults. It'll be an online event. And what I'm going to do is basically teach our youth between the ages of, let's say, 16 to 25, their working age. How do we establish generational wealth early? Setting up a secure checking and saving account, start investing in your 401ks, start setting up estate planning ideas. What does your future look like? What does your parents' future look like? Start communicating with your parents to see, hey, Mom, do I need to be listed on your life insurance plan? What is a life insurance plan? Do I need to start one? Things of that nature.
I'm so glad you mentioned those generational conversations because they are so important. And even though sometimes they can be difficult, we have to make sure that we are having them. And now with the holidays, we're all together. Maybe we can start to have those conversations. So lastly, where can people find you and what can we look forward to seeing from Gibson Financial Planning in the future?
You can find me at SavonGibsonSenior.com. That's the website. You can find me on social media, Facebook at Gibson Financial Planning. Twitter at Gibson Planning, Instagram Gibson_Financial, and on LinkedIn at Savon Gibson. Some things I have coming for the future is I'll continue doing a generational wealth tour that will be mixed online because I had to transfer it online due to COVID. But hopefully by the mid-year or the second quarter, I'll be going into facilities doing generational wealth workshops for the communities.
That sounds incredible, Savon. Thank you so much. We look forward to seeing those online and in-person offerings and continuing to support Gibson Financial Planning. Thank you so much and happy holidays, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Be blessed.
Several local entrepreneurs have a new space to perfect their craft, and Kroger is covering rent for a year. 5 businesses will be working out of the Incubator Kitchen in northern Kentucky. They include F and Good Desserts, Foe's Bakery, Pata Roja Tacos, the Ferrari Brothers, and C&G Catering. And this will help the businesses grow, expand their network, and launch new ventures. Things that became much more difficult once the pandemic hit.
My goal is to have a baker / a cafe, and I would like to call it Foe's Bakery too, and have it like this warm, cozy place. If you go with your daughter or with your son and you like just tea party, small tea party.
The grant will push us over and get us where we need to go as far as our storefront, you know, for our, and also with our catering. You know, so I mean, we're really excited. I mean, this is I can't stop smiling.
Yeah. Oh, you can feel that excitement. That's wonderful. The 5 businesses each will get 40 hours of cooking time each month. And Kroger is getting on board the vaccine train. The supermarket chain will provide the coronavirus vaccine nationwide through its pharmacies and clinics. More than 1 million doses of both the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines have been given out. Up to this point, frontline healthcare workers, those in nursing homes, and first responders have gotten the shot. Governor Mike DeWine says the next group will include people 65 and up, those with developmental disorders, and school teachers. The hope is to start those shots in mid-January. And just this week, the U.S. struck a deal with Pfizer to double the number of doses it will provide. There will now be 200 million. Health experts believe if everything goes as planned, life could start to return to normal by the summer. I think we are all crossing our fingers about that. The one thing this pandemic appears to have done is spark a passion for the medical field. Young people are applying to medical schools in record numbers. The University of Cincinnati is one of the schools seeing a dramatic uptick in numbers. More than 6,000 people have applied to UC's College of Medicine. That's a 20% increase over last year.
These people just have a true commitment to humanity. They're seeing people struggle, and they're trying to think about the ways that they want to serve others.
To see increases, especially among groups that have historically been underrepresented, you know, African American, Latino, and American Indian Alaska Natives, really shows promise that we're making a commitment to reach out to all communities.
People from all over the country are trying to get into UC. There are applications from California, Texas, Florida, and Massachusetts. And the renewed interest couldn't come at a better time. The Association of American Medical Colleges says there's a nationwide shortage of physicians, especially in underserved areas. Well, here's a sight we've all been waiting to see for weeks now. The Brent Spence Bridge back open to traffic. Crews started letting cars and trucks back on the 57-year-old bridge Tuesday, a day early and under budget, too. Here's a time lapse of the entire project from start to finish. A month's work of around the clock work condensed into 60 seconds. It's pretty incredible to watch. The 6-week closure amplified the need for something to be done about the bridge, which is, of course, the Tri-State's main artery. Traffic was rerouted everywhere, and Covington streets were not able to handle it.
I'm very hopeful that this will inspire the communities that are involved in this project to come together and to work together to achieve a result that is clearly needed.
Well, virtually everyone agrees there needs to be a replacement or a companion bridge. The price tag is north of $2 billion, and finding the money has proven difficult, especially since many drivers oppose tolls to pay for the project. UC's undefeated season isn't quite ending like most hoped. They didn't make the college football playoff, but it is paying off for both the players and the school. The Peach Bowl payout is $6 million, and UC will get $2 million, and the AAC will then divvy up the remaining $4 million, with the Bearcats getting the biggest cut. Head coach Luke Fickell is also getting a $250,000 bonus, and the players all get swag bags. They include a Peach Bowl fossil watch, a commemorative football, and customized gift card card with a $390 value. The game against Georgia is New Year's Day at 12:30 on ESPN. I also want to give a quick shout out to my Ball State Cardinals who won the MAC championship just last weekend. Congratulations to them. And I know we have a lot of Ball State cards in the tri-state region, so a big win there. All right, up next on Bisbee, the potential downside to an amazing year for home sales in Greater Cincinnati. The housing market is on fire and prices are skyrocketing. That also means some people may owe a lot more than they expected.
It's been an amazing year.
But not a great year for your taxes.
Not a great year for taxes. People are really bummed out.
Property assessments are up 15% in Hamilton County, but that doesn't necessarily mean your property taxes will go up a similar amount.
If you think we're wrong, there's information on how to file a complaint. And I would urge people to do that if they think we're way off base.
And you guys are wrong sometimes.
Yeah, right. Nobody is perfect.
You can file that complaint with the Hamilton County Board of Revision. There's no filing fee. Another week, another set of potential mayoral candidates now emerging. Both Chris Seelbach and Mark Mallory picked up petitions for candidacy this week. Mallory, who served as mayor from 2005 to 2013, says he has not made a final decision on whether he'll run. It's become a wide open race since the presumed frontrunner, P.G. Sittenfeld, was arrested on bribery charges. He is accused of selling his votes to a developer. Sittenfeld has repeatedly said he is innocent, and now he is asking a judge to dismiss all charges against him. Sittenfeld is one of 3 council members charged with corruption this year. Well, that is shifting up the entire makeup of City Council. 2 of those council members are Democrats. All 3 replacements are Republicans. And that while the county turns blue. Courier reporter Chris Wetterick sat down with Josh Burton to talk politics.
Kyla, thanks for having us. This is Josh Burton. He's a political consultant. Josh, this was an eventful election year. Hamilton County Republicans, they've kind of had a few tough election cycles as the county has trended more Democratic recently. What do you think that the Republicans can do to kind of turn around and compete in an urban county like this one?
Thank you, Chris, for that great question. I think one of the biggest things that Republicans can continue to do, and they should be doing, is getting out into the respective communities across Hamilton County. Citizens tend to vote for people that they have a relationship with, and someone that they can identify with, and someone that they can get to know, especially with such microcosms around our county. Name ID is super important, especially if you're judicial, and if you're running in partisan races. Getting to understand your party, the base of your party, and then raising money. That's a huge part of running, especially in a competitive county like Hamilton County.
What do you think the most frustrating misconception is that people have about politics and people who work in politics?
I would say the biggest misconception is that somehow we hate each other or that we don't get along with each other. People will watch the talking heads on the news, scream at each other. They'll see fights on social media between people. And for those of us who work in politics, I have plenty of friends who are Democratic operatives, friends who are Democrats, that we don't really talk about politics. And if we do, it's very respectful, and we don't hate each other for it, that we keep audience with people who have difference of opinion, and we don't live in such a monolithic world. I think that's a pretty frustrating thing for me, is that they don't think that we get along. We all do. We try to at least reflect that to other people.
You've worked with a ton of candidates in your time in this business, Josh. What do you think? What are some of the qualities that make a successful candidate overall and a successful candidate in terms of fundraising as well?
Yeah, I think having the hustle is the biggest part. Willing to go out there every day, first off, making the choice to run for office. That's a big choice. And when you do that, you have to be prepared to raise the money. And that means talking with your sphere of influence first, and then getting to know donors who technically, they buy into what you believe in, right? And then the third part is being able to go talk to anyone and everyone possible in your community, and having that hustle. Hustle is the biggest part of running for office.
And then lastly, this is can be a feast or famine business. What's next for you, do you think?
Yeah, so again, we're going to continue working with great candidates, whether here in Cincinnati, Columbus, Cleveland, or across the country. And then we also enjoy working with private businesses and doing advertising.
Josh Burton, thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Chris and Josh. Well, at first glance, it looks like any other little library.
Oh, that's a good one. That's called the Reindeer Christmas. You want that one?
But this one's a little different. Up next on First Financial Bisbee, the 11-year-old entrepreneur who's using his hard-earned savings to spread Christmas cheer. A local brewing company is adding another brewery to its portfolio. March 1st is buying the Woodburn Brewery and Tap Room in East Walnut Hills. It already owns March 1st Brewing, Fig Leaf Brewing, and Cincinnati Distilling. The company plans to add more seating, a lounge area, and a full kitchen. It'll keep the Woodburn name and hopes to reopen in the spring. A proposal to declare the Mercantile Library building a historic landmark is in front of City Council. The library is on the top 2 floors of the 108-year-old building downtown. The rest is pretty much vacant. The library was Cincinnati's first membership library, and it's one of the few left. The historic status would make the building eligible for both state and federal historic tax credits for a future conversion. Last week, the Courier and the Chamber held the 3rd annual Climb Awards. The awards celebrate best practices in diversity, inclusion, and equity in the business community. And today, we want to celebrate the winner of our Diverse by Design Award, Carl Satterwhite.
I met Carl in 1991 when he was with Procter & Gamble as a facilities manager with the Mason Research Center. And we worked together. He is my client, and a friendship blossomed over a period of time, and we went from lunches to dinner with spouses to Sunday afternoons with kids. So we've known each other and developed a great friendship over many, many years. So as I reflect over the many years that I've known Carl, he has always been a giver. When we look back and run our lives in parallel, he was doing volunteer work as a teenager. So was I. He is who he is at his core, but has he grown over the years as we created the RCF group? Immeasurably. Those of us who know him and see him in his daily actions, to our whole team at RCF group, to the whole community, everyone knows who this man is at his core, and he continues to grow. And this growth just means he has a broader breadth of knowledge and a far greater reach within the community.
My real voyage to activist came as being born of a teenage mother in Lincoln Heights. So I was one of 5 children born before she was 21. And then my first opportunity to get out of Lincoln Heights really was an opportunity to work for the Kroger Corporation. And working for Kroger, I got to see men in suits and try to understand what that was all about. And I had the opportunity to be encouraged by many men at the Kroger building and the Kroger Corporation to aspire to greater aspirations within Cincinnati. In fact, one particular leader, Mr. Bill Moran, suggested that I could be anything if I put my mind to it. So I went on to school, got a certificate in station engineering, ultimately got fortunate to work for the Procter & Gamble Corporation in facilities and engineering, and took that road to be able to create the RCF group with my partner, Scott Robertson. I've been very fortunate to work in the area of development and encouragement with minority businesses. As a part of the Ohio Minority Supplier Development Council, I've been on that board for many years. But that's given me the opportunity to also be more specific in Cincinnati. I'm actually the vice chair of the Minority Business Input Committee. Cincinnati is very engaged in minority business and the development of such. We have what's called the Leadership Advisory Council, in which corporations that care about making change, diversity, equity, and inclusion in Cincinnati have given their time, talent, and efforts to the same effect. So minority business leaders as well as corporations come together to be able to provide the necessary skills and sustainable tools to be able to make minority businesses great. I really do this work because it's a passion. I believe there's a sea change not only going on in the world, but absolutely in Cincinnati. Being recognized for it is not necessarily what I look for, but the ability to keep this message fresh. Because the reality about Cincinnati, oftentimes, we don't tell the good stories. We tell the bad stories. And if we take the time to look at everything that's going on, this is a better place. I'm proud to be here, and I'm believing that even my grandchildren will choose to be in Cincinnati because some of the things that we're doing today. I'm proud to be a Cincinnatian, and I'm proud of diversity, equity, and inclusion, the work that's going on, and I believe that we can be even better.
And an 11-year-old entrepreneur in Westwood is spreading holiday cheer with books and hot chocolate.
I had the idea a couple years ago to set it up, but we actually just got it set up this month. Well, last month, sorry.
Well, that's Elliot Thompson, and he says he's an out-of-work newspaper delivery boy, and he came up with his own business, making and selling bird treats. Business has been booming, and that's when he came up with another idea, a free library at the corner of Work and Niesel. And to make sure people know about it, Elliot is handing out free cocoa with Christmas books. He bought the hot chocolate and the marshmallows with the profits from his bird treat business. The books are courtesy of the Literacy Network of Greater Cincinnati.
It makes us so proud because we have ambassadors all throughout our city that are out there trying to help improve book access. And a little guy like this is making a huge impact right where in his own neighborhood.
And I wanted to celebrate it, people coming to it, and they're going to able to get knowledge from their neighborhood.
There are currently 90 little free libraries around the city. 60 more are coming next year. Well, thank you so much for joining us for First Financial BizBeat. For business news around the clock, visit bizjournals.com/Cincinnati. Be sure to follow us on Twitter and Facebook, and also sign up for our daily emails. I'm Kyla Woods. Have a wonderful and safe weekend.